Yikes on bikes. I think I took for granted that one day it wouldn't be there. Girl, she left me on red. If you know, you know. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Girl. What's going on? I'm Christiana, and it's a whole lot going on, okay? I'm ready to just jump right into this thing, okay? I didn't know I was going to be talking about this, but now we're going to be talking about this because I was scrolling on Instagram, like this is like hot off the presses. I follow the Philadelphia Inquirer on Instagram just so I can get a flavor of what's going on when I'm just like doing my regular scrolling. I also have the app, and so like there was an article that came through about 2 hours ago, and it was talking about how today, Thursday the 22nd, they're basically they took down a bunch of plaques and just like important information around slavery at like in Philly today. So I just want to back up a little bit because I I can feel myself just being really in a place about this. The current regime had decided a while back that talking about slavery does nothing to uplift the pride of America. In like as basic as I can explain it. Yeah, they don't want to hear about that no more, basically. And so they're going into a lot of like national parks and removing anything that talks about slavery, as well as like defunding a lot of parks that are like dedicated. Like down south, there's a ton of parks that are dedicated to talking about the history of slavery, and I feel really lucky that I have actually gone to some of them myself. We knew it was coming to Philly. We knew it was coming. One, Philly is like the birthplace of America, and this is the 250th year of America. And so it's an interesting time, I think, generally right now because of that. And so we knew it was coming, but there were a lot of people already like having conversations and trying to just organize around what we would do when the time came. Well, my friends, the time is here. The time is here. So George Washington back in the day actually owned a handful of slaves right here in Philly, and there's a plaque in Center City at the national park where the Liberty Bell and like all that good stuff is there. But there's also like a memorial, you can call it, right? Talking about like the business of slavery, talking about the slaves that like lived at the president's house in the back days. And so it's really interesting. I've walked past it a couple times. I think I took for granted that one day it wouldn't be there. You know what I'm saying? I rarely go to Center City on foot. And especially like not like I haven't actually walked around in a long time, and I haven't been to the park in a while, like years. But it's just like one of those things, like when you live here, you're not thinking that these things are going to go away. And yeah, so today, the folks who managed the park got the orders to go ahead and take them plaques and things down. The one guy is like on record now, like because I guess the Inquirer was called. And so like they were there and they were trying to engage the man who was taking the plaques down, who was ordered to take the plaques down. And he's like, hey, like, I'm just following orders. Like, this is just my job or whatever. And I was just like, oh my God, like imagine that you are the one who goes down in history as being the person who like tried to erase slavery, and then your response is like, I'm just doing my job, I'm just following orders, and that is how you will be remembered forever. Yikes on bikes. Now I know I'm like talking about like local stuff a little bit, but like I'm in Philly, like there's a whole lot going on, and I just like want to talk for a second about the situation with the mayor. So like a ton of articles have come out in the last like couple of months, just like wondering like what is her deal, because if you don't know, we have like the first Black woman mayor in the city, like ever, and if with any luck she'll be a one-term mayor, but you know, I'm speaking for myself, not on behalf of any organization at this time, okay? These are my thoughts. My thoughts are my own. Preface, but with any luck she'll be a one-term mayor and we can move forward. She is just like she's not vocal, right, about anything that has been going on, none of the injustices that have been going on. She busted look, I'm going way back now, all my grievances, but like she busted a worker strike, a sanitation worker strike. Was that a year ago now? Like whatever, like she's not of the people, okay? She's not of the people. I don't know what she's about, to be honest, but with everything that's been going on, we have a really awesome district attorney who has been really, really vocal about things, and he was like a civil rights lawyer for a really long time, and is just like down with the people, and he's like, hey, if you guys like come here thinking you're gonna do whatever you're gonna do, we're gonna like prosecute you guys. Like talking about ICE. You know, I respect it. We also have like a sheriff's office who was also like really vocal about things and has been, but we have a very, very quiet mayor's office. Silent, okay? And a lot of people feel like that's like her way of trying to protect the city for what could come, but really the reality of the situation is that they're coming regardless she'd be quiet, they're coming regardless if she was really vocal, they're coming. It's just a matter of when at this point. I mean, and they're already here, they're just not the army that is like what's happening in Minnesota right now. Like it's a different situation. And yeah, it's not looking good. I'm not gonna hold you. This feels really, really heavy because it's like somebody was suggesting like maybe the city should figure out how to like put the plaques back in another part of the city, or like maybe across the street from the park, or like what can we do, you know what I mean, to fight back. And I thought that was really interesting. But it just feels like all around, like elected officials, so many of them are just laying down, and that's how this kind of feels. Like the city is just laying down. They're talking about a potential lawsuit situation is what the article said, but if we know Sherelle Parker at this point, like she's not going to do anything. Not a damn thing. And that's really unfortunate. Think again about how important it is though, that like, especially as Black people, that we continue to like verbally pass down our history, and how important it is to do that work, and making sure that like the kids, the people that are coming in the world, the next generation, have a certain level of awareness to begin with, but also an awareness of their history as it happened, not as it's being taught and like how it's being revised. I'm still sick about that guy going on record talking about he just doing his job. Like, girl, what's going on? So, like I said, I didn't know I was going to come up here and talk about the monument situation today. But what I knew I was going to come up and talk about is what happens when like your values as a person no longer like match up with the faith that you grew up in. I have been thinking about this a lot since the Druski situation happened. If you don't know, there's a comedian online named Druski. He's hilarious. I like him anyway. I know that I've seen some videos where people are like, he is not funny. Okay. I've laughed at some things that he's made. He makes a lot of skits about just different stuff. Like I think my favorite skit of his is when he talked about the Amazon worker who basically has a whole other life at the Amazon warehouse, separate from his real life. Like, he's got a girlfriend at the job, like, you know what I mean? He's like the man, he's popping, he's this, he's that. And it was like the girlfriend at some point like decided to move on to somebody else at the warehouse, and he was salty or whatever. He was like really heartbroken about it, and then he like at the end of the shift he goes to the car where his wife and kids are. You know what I mean? And like and he's got like this nasty attitude with his family, but he was like the life of the party at the job. Like, what? Anyway. The skit is actually very funny, but Druski makes a lot of like true to life like skits, and every once in a while a skit will go more viral than it normally would, and then everybody's kind of just like discussing it. And so recently he did a whole skit where he was basically talking about the way that church pastors and like church folk take advantage of the congregation, and they are like balling out, cashing out, wearing Dior. The skit was loosely based on a pastor named, I think Mike Todd is his name. I think his name is Mike, like Mike Todd. I had never heard of him before this skit, but when people were doing the comparisons, because he was like wearing some of the same clothes or whatever, and it was a very, very funny skit, and people were really upset about it. A lot of people felt like, oh, like, is Druski making fun of God? Like, you know, like there were a lot of, like, the range of commentary I felt like was really, really large. I could say, like, from my own opinion of watching the skit, he was not making fun of God. He was making fun of pastors who take advantage of their congregation for their own personal gain, and what that looks like in real time. And as somebody, like, I grew up Muslim, but I also have another side of my family that is Christian, and like super Christian, where they're like, they have their own church and like all of that. And I always did think it was interesting how it's like, you don't go to a job, but you drive a Lexus. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I always used to wonder stuff. Like, you know what I mean? My folks, they always had luxury cars, and but nobody worked a 9 to 5. They taught at the church, or like they preached at the church, or what, how, like, even still to this day it don't add up to me. It's really interesting, and it, like I said, has opened up a lot of conversation, and there's just been a couple of things in there that I've just like been thinking about a lot. And also coupled with, I recently was on Reddit. I am on Reddit all the time. If you know, you know. At one point I had like a 500-day streak on Reddit. I ruined it I was supporting a strike at some point, and I lost track of time and forgot to tap in, and I lost my streak. But Reddit, I was in one of the Black girl groups, and this woman was talking about really recently how she is struggling in her dating life because of how religious Black people tend to be. And I guess wherever she lives, it must be really, really like prevalent. And she's having a hard time just like getting somebody who understands her position. I don't know if she said she was like atheist, or like maybe she's like more agnostic or whatever. But regardless, she's not like a super like Christian person. She was talking about Christianity in her post. And so that's like not her vibe. And so she's having a hard time dating because the men that she's meeting are like on that. I thought that was really interesting. And I just also started thinking about how in my own life, I've definitely had moments where I've had moments definitely when I've been judged, right, for not showing up in religious spaces as I've grown older. My mom, who is very religious, like would try to like ask me to come to stuff, and as I've gotten older and have found my own voice to be able to say no, I've done that. You know what I mean? Like, if it was something super, super important, maybe I would consider it. But I think we're at a point now where she's not asking me anymore. But at one point it was like, you know, she would ask and I'd be like, and then at some point I think I started to just become more honest with her. And I really just been on this tip of like my personal values as an individual differ from some of the values I've seen on display in religious spaces, period, right? And what I mean by that is like I do the people's work, you know. I am an organizer, and I, you know, have been a part of just different fights and protests and things like that over the years, fighting for people, fighting for working people, fighting for Black people, fighting for immigrant people, you know what I mean? Like the fights, LGBTQ, like I've been a part of many, many different kinds of fights over the years. I've also been a part of fights that have changed people's lives. And that is not an exaggeration, right? Like, and I've had people come back to me and be like, "Oh my God, like the work that you did changed my life," and that's amazing. And I feel it. I feel like that's amazing because I know that's not work that's not something people get to experience, and I do, and I have, right? It is ultimately this sort of boots on the ground, hands-on, active work that makes me feel like at the end of my life, if it is that, because I'm not actually that religious, right? I wouldn't say I'm very religious at all. But, you know, they say like when you die, you'll like stand in front of God and he will be the one to judge you in your life and what you've done and what you ain't did. And I personally feel like that my book will be very full, right? And probably a lot fuller than some of these people who walk around like they are so holy that they like are in a position to wag fingers at people on how other people are living their lives and like judge people and all this. What are the tangible works that they are doing? I don't know. But honestly, I feel like it is the more tangible work that counts. And the values that I have been able to curate for myself. Not that this is a game with points or whatever, but I just feel like I'm putting points on the board, living my life on my own accord, more than, you know, some other folks. And it's like, not even that I'm like trying to be in a position to judge them or like to judge, you know what I mean, like other people in general. But it to me, I just feel like the things that I've seen, like I know that people can do much better. And I know that like I can do much better all by myself. And I don't know, it just was just, I've seen so much, you know? And so like when I was watching this Druski skit, and it was funny. Like I found it comical, but also I think that it's good that the skit exists because it is opening up a conversation that does need to be had about the way that church folks and especially church leaders are in a position that is so special and like is so like should be handled with so much responsibility because people believe in you and they trust you and they're taking what you're saying and they're applying it to their own lives. The fact that, you know, if you hand you throw that collection plate out there for the third time that afternoon, that people will continue to like put money in it because you said so, whether that's like to their own detriment or not, which again is a whole other conversation. It is a special role you have, like to lead people. Anybody who's a leader, right? It's a heavy crown to wear, and the idea that like so many people cannot handle it, you know what I mean, and cannot handle it. They're taking advantage of people. They're taking their money. Some people are doing a little bit more than that, taking advantage of people's trust, people's children. You know what I mean? Like it gets deep. Honestly, like I'm actually glad that, like I said, the skit itself exists because it is reopening a conversation that people need to have. I don't know. I'm just kind of looking at my notes to make sure I said everything I wanted to say. and I like was writing this thing about like being able to like decide the kind of relationship you're gonna have with God, if you believe in God, that can be outside of a middleman. Like I didn't like fully write this thought out or whatever, but there is also something kind of weird to me that a lot of religious spaces tend to act like you can only access God from that house of worship or through the minister or pastor that is like giving you a sermon or whatever. It is weird. It's very weird. I've like come to like examine this many times in my life, and there's just a lot about it that just doesn't sit right. This just doesn't sit right in my spirit. I said what I said. Oh, another thing I want to drive home to is that I don't actually think that like all religious spaces are bad, and I think that for a lot of people they could have been in a much worse place, or like I don't want to say it like that, but like what I do mean is like I do hear the stories of like when people are down bad, they're like at rock bottom, or they're just like in search of meaning in the ways that a religious space of some sort can be just what they were looking for. The sense of belonging. I don't want to like discount that, the ways that these can also be like really positive spaces. It's just that I think I've personally seen them be really negative. That's it. That's all. I think this is going to be a shorty, like a little short video, because I don't know, it was a long day and I didn't actually prepare to talk about anything fun. I just like had this like Druski thing on my mind, and then I like sat down to like see what else I could talk about, and then I ran into the monument problem and in Philly, and it's just sometimes I'll have lots of things, sometimes I'll probably have a few things, and I think this was like a couple of things, and I think that's fine. I think that's fine. I just want to get into the flow of like coming and sitting down and chatting, so that I can try to like grow this thing. Anyway, I am gonna wrap this up. Let me know what you think, good, bad, and different, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.